Rated M for mature.
Zombie Army 4 Dead War is already pretty scary, but what if you want to turn the fear up to 11? Here's how to do just that. The shuffling undead are unnerving. There's no avoiding it. Or, indeed, them. Swarms of outstretched grabbing limbs, rotten flesh, and, presumably, really bad halitosis. This all means that playing Zombie Army 4 is no walk in the corpse-strewn park. And you'll know that if you already subscribe to the channel. But most of the time, unless you're playing alone on brutal mode, it feels like you can cope. It's not too terrifying when it feels like you're the star of your very own B-movie. But what about when you want to be truly afraid, and when only survival horror will scratch that particular itch? Well, 1, we can help, and 2, you should probably get that bite looked at, shouldn't you? Anyway, here are the 5 ways to transform Zombie Army 4 into the ultimate in terror. Prepare to be afraid. Very afraid.
Have you ever watched a horror film at the cinema, laughed along with your mates at the time, and then been too terrified to turn the light off later that night when you got to bed? No, me neither. It's just something that I've heard happens to other people. The point is, indulging in horror on your own is inherently scarier. Taking other people out of the equation in Zombie Army 4 not only means a higher difficulty, since there's no one around to revive you when things go wrong, or take out a few zombies of their own, it also means the atmosphere just seeps in a bit more. Just you, the eerie stillness of the forest before the undead attack, and, thankfully, a load of guns.
You could, of course, just turn on brutal difficulty to make things infinitely harder and make every single room a potential new gravesite. But if you don't fancy dying every 3 seconds on your own, there's always the separate setting to increase the zombie count throughout each chapter. This way you can keep your chosen difficulty, you're going to go for hard, right? But just add infinitely more hungry undead if you up the number to 3 or 4 players. Suddenly, things shift into Romero mode as scores of shufflers stagger into view, desperate for their turn at the buffet bar on legs. That's you, by the way. Playing alone like this means that things get repeatedly uncomfortably too close for comfort, and no matter which difficulty you're playing on, each safe room suddenly becomes just that. A moment where you can breathe away from the relentless hordes of hell. Oh, and yeah, horde mode alone is basically survival horror as it is.
So far, you've reduced your ammo, increased your enemies, and decided to take it all on solo. A fine start, but to really ramp up the survival horror, it's time to look outside the game. For starters, look, what's that light doing on? What are you, some sort of afraid person? Repelling the supernatural abominations in darkness is much scarier. Darkroom gamers, let's see you in the comments. It's quite instinctual, our need for a clear view of our surroundings, isn't it? The caveman in us wants to be assured that there are no predators around, so when you not only make your environment hard to scan, but then also pump your brain full of zombie moans, using headphones obviously, much more atmospheric, you're inviting a fear response that's been baked in by thousands of years of evolution. Ugh.
Perks make life a lot easier, but they're not really mood-setting additions, are they? Second chance is life. Quite literally, but it takes away the scare factor to know you've got a safety net strapped around your waist wherever you go. Proverbially, I mean, there isn't a perk that gets you a safety net, so don't waste your time looking. If you want to complete this survival horror transformation, you're going to have to unequip Second Chance. We're not saying no perks at all, just think about what makes your game a bit easier, reduced melee damage say, and then remove it in the name of increasing your BPM. In those empty slots you've now got, why not try something like Vampirism, which rewards headshots with health replenishment. That way, you've still got the benefit of a perk, but it comes with the pressure of having to perform in the moment. Or you could increase your shotgun and pistol ammo. Speaking of...
Right, you're nearly there. They're coming in their droves, you're facing them solo without the cuddlier perks to help you, and you're alone with a chill in the air where the atmosphere can really creep in. But we're not done yet. There's one more step. Because hand on heart, mowing down squillions of enemies at a time with special weapons or leveled up SMGs isn't really scary, is it? You know what's scary? A pistol and a shotgun. Back in the olden days, this was all people had to fight off zombies with, and that's if they were lucky. Go back to George A. Romero's classics and see how many specced out sniper rifles you see there. No, exactly. For the full experience, use only your handgun and a trusty shotgun, and you'll be playing Zombie Army 4 on super scary and super satisfying mode. Blimey, my palms are actually getting a bit sticky. Let's get the lights back on while I mention that you should subscribe to Rebellion if you haven't already for fresh content every week. It's not always this spooky, don't worry. Let us know if you've tried this in the comments and tell us your scariest moments in Zombie Army 4, and leave us a like if you enjoyed what you watched. Until next time, you brave bunch.